All right, in this video, I'm going to talk about kind of the philosophy of the system. Essentially, the philosophy is that it breaks into two components, with the second component having several different kind of sub-steps. So the first component, which is set up way ahead of time, is the pricing. So we separate the pricing from the counts. So the first step, first component, is setting up the pricing. And by looking at the various different options for the pricing, and it brings up the pricing. So we'll go to the interior. We can see that we have state values. So these are the predefined values that are specific to your state. So when you created your account, you got a set of values on whatever state you were that you signed up under. And so if you don't do anything, so this is the default, then this will give you a set of prices. So you don't have to go figure out the prices before you start. However, after you've done this a little while, you'll discover that for your particular way in which you do business or your particular city, the numbers aren't quite right. So if you have the middle or advanced level, so of course you have to get up to the higher levels, then you can actually change the values. So for example, in flooring, we have an average of $4 a square foot. So this covers everything from the carpet in one portion of the house to the tile in another portion of the house. It's kind of an average. It makes it so that you can go into a house very quickly and determine the pricing. And notice it's based on square footage. However, in my particular market, for the houses I'm looking at, I'm going to put more carpet in. So I've reduced the value and come up with a slightly different solution. So this is kind of the quick view of the kind of the phase one or the partial one. All right. So then we go back into one of the properties, and you can see where part two occurs. So let me flip over to the edit mode, and it's a little easier to see. So in the case of flooring, if I'm going to carpet or if I'm going to put flooring in the entire house, this house has 1,242 square feet in it. And so I'm going to carpet the entire thing. So phase two, after you've entered the property itself, so this is what you're going to do with the property, specific property. You're going to go through and you're going to say, okay, well, I need to have flooring for this property. And in this case, it's just short of $5,000. If I knew that I was only going to do half the house, and I can change these numbers to half, and it does the math for us. And so, we're going to look at, we've got a kitchen, and that median kitchen is going to cost us $6,000. Some of the items, it's easier to show on the exterior because we look at windows. If we think about a window, you're never going to have a partial window, but we do need counts because we're likely to have 6 windows in the property, and at $300 a window, that's $1,800. And so I can go just around the outside and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and generate the number of windows. You're not going to do proportional. If you needed to do proportional, so like 6.5 windows, then you put the 0.5 in and it knows how to calculate it. Windows are normally calculated in 101 United inches, and so if you have, for example, a picture window, you just count how many kind of like units of one one window would be. So for example, if it's kind of like 3 windows wide, then you put a 3 here. And so you can set it up. Those are the two types of entry that are used in the system. There are some others available if you want to get into them. But basically it's the checkbox. So, oh, I'm going to paint the exterior. I'm going to paint the whole house. That should cost me $3,000. And then it generates the repair. Okay, so that's kind of I want to say the second substep. First subset is figuring out what the property is. First, the second one is the repairs, and that's what the strength of this program is. And then, since we know what the equations are, we can take that and generate the equations. There's more detailed information on that elsewhere. The seller net sheet is designed for as a argument tool, or a negotiating tool, that it would generate the numbers of what the seller is actually going to net if they go the traditional route. And if we need to modify the property information, so we realize that the property, that the ARV that we're using isn't really 45,000, that it's 50,000. Maybe the market went up in it, and maybe we could adjust the square footage if we're going to use the number of cars in the garage. Some of these numbers are great documentation and they're not used anywhere. The square footage and the stalls and the ARV are the three that are the most important one from the standpoint of the calculations. So then we can save these, and we can see at the top that the ARV has changed, so it now is correct with this property. And so and then once we've generated our offer, then we can generate the PDF and just either send it out, print it, or just look at it. So the first phase is entering the costs, and those we provide a baseline for that, and then you can adjust them. And then the second phase is the actual at the house situation, and that's the kind of the core of the philosophy. There's advanced features that get into some other options, multiple logins, that kind of thing. But that does it for the core. All right, well, on to the next video.